it looks like you have sound on your YouTube.
Okay. Oh, Daniela, welcome.
Hello.
We're already live. I've just started a little bit early because sometimes we have difficulty getting into YouTube. So we have a couple minutes before we'll actually start. I don't know if I've seen you before.
Yeah, yeah.
The second time I'm here.
Second time?
Yeah. While I was on.
Oh, okay, great. And then someone else has joined. Welcome.
I think it's Dana. But yeah, we're good. We're good.
We're pinned. Good. Oh,
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning. So we're just about to start. We're already on YouTube because I had been away on retreat, and so I and Yannicka have been hosting or been leading the discussion. So sometimes I have difficulty getting into YouTube. It doesn't recognize my computer. So we're already live. And just know if you we can clip the beginning of this if you don't want yourself on camera, but if you have your camera open and you make a sound, you'll come on to YouTube. So if you don't mind that, that's welcome, Amber. So yeah, so we have about one more minute until we
Start with the tortoise.
start with our
With the Namatas.
yeah, start with our sutta. Oh, welcome, Simile Badaniani. Is that, hope I pronounced it properly?
Yes.
Okay, welcome. We're just, okay, at the top of the hour. So I'm going to start with the Namo Tassa, and then we can start our sutta discussion. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Buddham Dhammam Sangham Namasami. So today I well, I am known as Aya Sivijana more than just today, but and this is Aya Nyanika, and we're here at Pasadi Vihara, and we're going to be discussing possibly two suttas, but at least one on this is a on this in the connected discourses on the six senses, the Salayatana Samyutta, and it's talking about what's often translated as sense restraint. But we'll see how important this practice is, and it's actually something that can bring us to happiness and in our lives, and also protecting. It's a protection rather than a restriction. So I wanted these suttas point this out. So I'm going to share a document that I put together. Okay, got that up. Okay, can you see the document?
Yes.
I move a few things around here. See if, oh, that's not what I wanted to do.
It's easier to grab it at the top.
Grab it at the top.
Yeah, it's easy. Oops, you were just above it. On the black, on the black. Further down. Yeah.
Okay, well, I want to move it. Not, I want
And
to,
then go like,
oh, there
yeah,
it
there
goes.
you go.
There we go. Now we got it. Okay, so this is the simile of the tortoise, and this is Ajahn Tenisaro's translation. I'm not sure what it's called now, but there's access to insight.
It's now dhammatalks.org.
Dhammata.
Let me check if it's .org or .net. I'll look.
Okay, so if, anyway, it's Ajahn Tenisaro's
.org.
translation from his site. I think I got it from I like the original formatting of the
Of access to insight.
yeah, access to insight. So you can find this on access to insight as well. So I'll just start. Or would you like to read the first paragraph?
Sure.
Thank you.
Once upon a time, monks, a hard-shelled tortoise was foraging for food in the evening along the shore of a lake, and a jackal was also foraging for food in the evening along the shore of the lake. The tortoise saw the jackal from afar, foraging for food, and so, withdrawing its 4 legs, with its neck as a fifth, into its own shell, it remained perfectly quiet and still. But the jackal also saw the tortoise from afar, foraging for food, and so it went to the tortoise and, on arrival, hovered around it, thinking, as soon as the tortoise stretches out one or another of its 4 limbs or its neck as a fifth, I'll seize it right there, tear it off and eat it. But when the tortoise didn't stretch out any of its 4 limbs or its neck as a fifth, the jackal, not having gotten any opportunity, lost interest and left.
So this is the simile or of the tortoise, and the Buddha. This once upon a time I looked up, and it does in the list of translations. It's kind of like at one time, but it does make it feel like it's a kind of a parable or but this could actually happen. Tortoises have this protective mechanism of pulling inwards. And so the the tortoise is just minding his own business, and then he sees from afar a jackal. And so he does what tortoises instinctively do. He pulls inward to protect himself. And then this is beautiful here, perfectly quiet and still. He's just remained still without moving. And I don't know, when I was a kid, I had one of those red ear turtles that they used to sell for pets long ago. I don't know if they still do that. But and I would pick it up out of its aquarium, and it had a rock it would sit on, and sometimes I would seize it, and it would pull its legs and head in, and then I would look, and I could see, and all that was exposed was its nose. So later on we'll see I have extracts to show how this is also a simile for samadhi, but right now what we're talking about is sense restraint. Would you read the next?
In the same way, monks, Mara is continually, ceaselessly hovering around you, thinking, perhaps I'll get an opportunity by means of the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, the body. Perhaps I'll get an opportunity by means of the intellect. Thus, monks, you should dwell with the doors to your senses well guarded.
So, yeah, we'll look at the Pali so that we can talk about comparing. But you see, this protecting or guarding our senses from Mara is a Indriya Samvara. Is the function of that is not just like wearing blinders or just not trying to restrain ourselves kind of from enjoying life or something like that, but it's more that we're protecting ourselves. Would you read the next section, please?
On seeing a form with the eye, do not grasp at any theme or details by which, if you were to dwell without restraint over the faculty of the eye, evil, unskillful qualities such as greed or distress might assail you. Practice for its restraint. Guard the faculty of the eye. Secure your restraint with regard to the faculty of the eye. On hearing a sound with the ear, on smelling an aroma with the nose, on tasting a flavor with the tongue, on touching a tactile sensation with the body, on cognizing an idea with the intellect. Do not grasp at any theme or details by which, if you were to dwell without restraint over the faculty of the intellect, evil, unskillful qualities, such as greed or distress, might assail you. Practice for its restraint. Guard the faculty of the intellect. Secure your restraint with regard to the faculty of the intellect. When you dwell with the doors to your senses well guarded, Mara, not getting any opportunity, will lose interest and leave, just as the jackal did with the tortoise.
So there's this, I remember first reading, it was Bodhi's translation, when they're talking about signs and features. I think he says, do not grasp at themes and details. I think actually I didn't, well, I don't have to have the Pali, but I think this is like more like nimitta. I think that this word that's Ajahn Tanisaro is translated as theme, but it's kind of like the general, when you see, like if you see a person, the general sign or would be that that's a person or that's a woman or that's a man or what, whoever, however. And then there's the details, like like the details of, what they, their hair and their eyes and things like that. Or it could be food. This is, and then so, and then so I see cake, and then, then I see the it's decorated, and then I see it's a chocolate cake or something like that. And so then I'm getting more and more involved into what's appealing about it, or what's disgusting about it, like, oh, it's looking just messed up, like somebody, like or like the flavor I don't like or something like that, and then I could be repulsed. And you're about to say something.
Last week we did a sutta on seeing the repulsive as repulsive, and so this is a really good tie-in.
Yeah, so what we also, so we can start dwelling on these details. First there's the general appearance with the eye or the sight, or the general like sound. It's harder to talk about how that this sound may be just I'm hearing traffic, and then I start, I'm hearing this getting louder, and I'm hearing rumbling, and I start dwelling on, oh, that there's lots of traffic, and I'm hearing trucks, and I'm hearing this, and I'm hearing, and then so I start getting more and more irritated. So this is kind of my understanding is he says theme and detail. So
Yeah.
the
Do you want the
general,
Pali?
huh?
Do you want the Pali?
Yeah, please.
So nimitta is
Right.
kind of the theme, the sign, the overall external characteristics, and then anubhyanjana would be the details, or the sometimes called the secondary characteristics. I like to think of it as the characteristics that differentiate.
Mhm.
So if you've got a sea of graduates all in their caps and gown, you see a graduate, and then when you hone in, you see one in particular who has glasses and a beard or whatever.
But all those details are generally, you might just go, oh, this is so wonderful. And then you start picking out individual
Mm-hmm.
uh graduates, and then this one in particular, but then so then there's a maybe like
Others things can arise. Yeah.
so then it's grasping at maybe at the mind of the idea of it, and then later you're meditating, you start obsessing about, oh, I really need to get to know that person, and I'm going to say this to them, and like encourage them or whatever. And that's not necessarily unwholesome, but I'm just trying to use
Mm-hmm.
your graduate. But you start obsessing about the idea of something or somebody because
Mm-hmm.
first the general idea of them, the sign, and then, or like I was saying, food, cake,
Mm-hmm.
dessert, oh, that particular recipe, blah, blah, blah. It's like, so this is how we grasp. And grasping can also be repulsion,
Mm-hmm.
because then I'm just obsessing about how disgusting something was or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Really have to get rid of it. So then we have the verse at the end.
Like a tortoise with its limbs withdrawn in its shell, so the monk, the thoughts of the heart, not dependent, harming no others, totally unbound. They would berate no one.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And this verse appears, I think, in the Deva Samyutta or Devata Samyutta. I think it's just one of the verses in the first book. And someone said, so I think it was Bhikkhu Bodhi didn't think this really fit here, and it was kind of later placed there.
It's still lovely.
I think it fits myself. And so now we have some extracts that I took from the Wisdom publication, which is copyrighted, but I'm not doing this for sale. Um, so I just took just to compare translations, and I'm more familiar with because I started reading the suttas before Sutta Central started to publish electronically the suttas. So and so sometimes it's more familiar, or it makes more sense to me sometimes. Okay, so here's the extract. But because the tortoise did not extend any of its limbs or neck, the jackal, failing to gain access to it, lost interest and departed in it and departed. So too, because Mara, the evil one, is constantly and continually waiting close by you. I think Ajahn Nisaro said hovering around. Either one of those is good. I think an Ajahn Nisaro said to gain an opportunity, but gaining access seems really kind of strong. Like it's getting that Mara is gaining access to us. Perhaps I will gain access to them, him, her, them, through the eye or the ear or through the mind. Therefore, bhikkhus dwell guarding the doors of the sense faculties. having seen a form with the eye, do not grasp at its signs and features. Oh, that's what I said. Bhikkhu Bodhi's translation. So that's the nimitta, and the other one was
The other one
was
was.
nimitta, and maybe later you can pop those in
Oh, okay. I'll put it at the bottom.
at the bottom. Perhaps I will gain access through the mind. Where was I? Dwell or through the mind. Therefore, because dwell guarding the doors of the sense faculties, having seen a form with the eye, do not grasp at its signs and features, since if you leave the eye faculty unguarded, evil, unwholesome states of covetousness and displeasure might invade you. Practice the way of its restraint. Guard the eye faculty. Undertake the restraint of the eye faculty. Hearing a sound with the ear. So maybe
Oh, did I put it in the wrong spot?
that's okay. Leave it there. Just leave it there.
Okay.
Maybe drawing in the mind's thoughts as a tortoise draws its limbs into its shell, independent, not harassing others, fully quenched. A bhikkhu would not blame anyone. So, yeah, so this is why, I guess this sentence here, a bhikkhu would not blame anyone is a little bit, this is the only thing that doesn't quite fit with the rest of the, but yeah, I think,
What about this eye?
okay,
Because I know I do it. It's the fault of, and Ajahn Chah talked about it. It's
okay.
the fault of that person talking that's the problem.
Mm.
So
Right.
I'm blaming you if you're speaking, and I'm trying to pull my ears in, and why aren't you helping me? Or the car's going by, or the
Right. Oh, why did they put this dessert out here? They know I just love it, and I can't resist taking some of
Yeah.
this dessert.
Yeah, it's
You're
fixing-
blaming someone else for your own greed, like I could use restraint, but that's their fault because they made such a yummy cake.
Yeah.
Don't bring cake here. I'm only using it as an example.
Right. Yeah, that's a hazard if we mention something.
Anyway, so yeah, that's right. So would not blame, we can't blame other people. We can't blame even Mara because we're like saying, hey Mara, welcome in. Anyway, so then you have the nimitta and the secondary characteristic detail feature. Yes, secondary characteristic is helpful for understanding that. Like signs and features. Well, I was like, what's that? But the mark, the sign, the symbol, indication. Oopsie.
I'm just putting in the full because
Okay.
it's just the example for the eye.
Okay.
Jackal.
All right. So we'll tidy this up later. But thank you so much for putting that in. So here's Bhante Sutra.
Can we look at the, so
Okay.
if you look at the very last part where it says LIT, that means literally. So literally the first, the nimitta's measuring it down. Okay, it's a this. And then literally the second is differentiating. And of all of the thises, these are the particular characteristics of this.
Mm-hmm.
It would be the way to look at that.
So we could imagine the turtle and goes in the distance scene, oh, a predator, blah. And then the jack pulls in his legs, and then the jackal gets close.
Like a jackal.
Smells like a jackal. His nose is still out. But it says that the jackal gives up after a while because the turtle just remained quiet and peaceful. What did he say? Once upon a time, this is Bande Sujato's translation. He says, once upon a time, also, a tortoise was grazing along the banks of a river in the afternoon. So this is Gochara Suto Ahosi. So that he was there, he was eating food. The tortoise saw the jackal off in a distance hunting. Also, he was also in his gochara looking for food. So I have this gochara pasuta, looking for food, in search of grazing. So there's a thing in a meditation, they talk about your gochara, your pasture. So I think that at first the tortoise was doing what tortoises should be doing. He was eating what was good for a tortoise. And so this shows that, we're abiding, doing our daily activities. And then suddenly Mara might have an opportunity. We see something that we really would like to have. So but then we kind of, I think I like the idea of the at a distance, because I think we get a flickering of, oh, this is not so wholesome. This, where I'm going with this, like I see something. I'm just going to use food as an example again. I'm in the servery, at the servery with my alms bowl, because they put out food, often when there's a event or something, and there's lots of food. And then, so then I could be seized by greed. So then if I'm really restraining the eye faculty but it be the mind faculty more than anything else, and just say, okay, how much do I really need? What's really, good for my body? And then just taking a moderate amount, because it's easy in those kind of situations to take way too much. And so, but you see that in a distance, there's this, that looks so great. And I already have food in my bowl, and it's like, I already took something of that same kind of thing, but that one looks like it has the best sauce. Or that one has more tofu or whatever, it's like, it's like, so, so, so just to say that, that in a distance could mean that we're aware of this kind of percolating up greed or hatred or some unwholesome mental state arising because of contact at the ear or the eye or the nose. And then, so it drew in its limbs and neck inside its shell and kept passive and silent. Diswana sondi panchamani angani sake kapale samo dahitwa aposuko tuni buto sankasayati. So then this verb here, this is Bhante Sujato's notes that I took from Sutta Central. The verb drawing in, samodahiti, here is almost identical with that for immersion. Samadhati.
Dahati.
Hati. The turtle draws in its 5 limbs as a meditator draws the mind in from the senses.
I have a comment here. I was at Sarasta Abbey for a Vinaya course. I was trying to understand across tradition the Vinayas. And there was a side comment that Venerable Thupten Chodron made in regard to the practice. And it was the definition of Gochara for when we're practicing our meditation. So Gochara is our pasture, our domain. And she said, for the monastic, the Gochara for meditation is the sitting cloth. So we have a square about so big of cloth that we sit on. And so her suggestion was that, you pull into the space of your sitting cloth, and anything external to that is not, it's outside the senses for your meditation. And I remember it was really a very profound message for me at that time. So when I see this word gocha, I'm reminded of that for you, that can be wherever your seat of practice is for meditation. That's your gochara. And if you're going outside of it, then you're the turtle sticking out a limb.
But there's two aspects of this. One is that samadhi aspect, and the other one is the indriya samvara in activity.
Yep.
And this is in the gradual training, we start out with what's called the indriya samvara, and you notice that your mind is gonna, like, I can see my eye going out towards something that's desirable, and then you can almost, when you've been meditating for a while and you're sensitive, you can almost feel like there's this, reaching out and trying to grab something. There's the eye is like going right towards something, and that's kind of like, oh, like there's that immediate response, which you don't have so much control of, but like if you're walking with your eyes down as a monastic should and not gazing around, but still out of the corner of the eye, there's something. And I had this experience of doing walking meditation along this levee kind of, and there was a creek down below, and there was a great blue heron in the creek, a distance down, and I just was walking very slowly, but then I wanted to see it. I could feel this like pull, like I want to see this. And then I don't even think I moved my eyes, but I was seeing it in the peripheral vision. And the heron startled as soon as there was this, I have to see it, like wanted to grasp at it in the mind.
Mhm.
And it's something innocent, like I didn't want to hurt the heron or something, but there was still that I want to see it. and so for their protection, animals are sensitive. They can sit, I'm not saying I had, like my mind was powerful or something. But it was
Minds are in some.
and yeah, so they sense it, or could maybe even a smell or something. Who knows? I don't know what happens when there's like the really strong desire. It's like, because I swore thinking, I don't think I even turned like my eyes in that direction, because my eyes were still down, but the bird sensed it, because it was like a startle, just that very second. Anyway, so but then there is what we're talking about here with the sama, the hati, and this is pulling away. So there's this, we're doing this practice during our daily activities of not going, trying to guard our mind, protect our mind by not going out and grasping or pushing away at sense contacts. And then when we sit on the cushion, if we've been doing that as a practice, then it's easier for us to draw away from all that lure of, like what you're saying, you're sitting on the cushion and there's some sounds in the background and you say, what's going on there? The lighting is changing and what's happening here, and you're like, so the mind or memories are coming up, so you're more able to let go and pull inwards. And here I have an extract from the Dvaita Vitaka Sutta. This is one of my favorite suttas. It's very pragmatic. And the Buddha, before his awakening and the whole process of dividing the thoughts into two sorts, ones that were harmful and the ones that were beneficial. But I just took the part when he saw that even the thoughts that were non-harming, if he thought too much about there was too much excitement in the mind, it was tiring to him physically even. So then it says, so I still settled, unified, and immersed my mind internally. So this is what I'm thinking about with the tortoise, like pulling in and being still. There's the same words, similar words. It's a different form. Samadhamhi me. This is first person here. So he's like pulling inward. Samadhati of the mind, composes, stabilizes, collects, literally places together here. So it's like, yeah, I guess that would be the turtle, placing everything inward. And then I just took this little further down, quite secluded from sense pleasures, secluded from unskillful qualities. So this is what we're doing throughout the day, is pulling away from, I mean, not going out after. Maybe we're not secluded from it, and that doesn't mean we shouldn't enjoy, if we're, like eating in moderation, that the taste is going to be pleasant or unpleasant or whatever. But so
Sight of the heron, and there's nothing intrinsically wrong with that connection with nature.
right, but the
It's-
grasping of yeah,
Right.
because I'm doing walking meditation, but I really want to see this, like, wow, it's like, yeah, thank you. So and so there's this so ko aham bhikkhave vivicheve kammehi vivicha akusalehi dhammehi savitakam savicharam vivekajam piti sukham patamam janam upasampaja viharsim. Okay, so that's we chant regularly the Noble Eightfold Path. So this is the description of the first jhana, and which is the the first part of sama samadhi. But the reason why I was talking about the kamehi is having to do with the senses, and vivicha is so we're not allowing Mara to enter our minds. So we're secluded from these unwholesome states, akusala dhamma. These akusala dhammas, the unwholesome states. And then this is the second jhana. No, savitakam savija. We were on piti patama. Yeah, that's the first jhana. So the senses. So this is vivichati. To separate is detached, disengaged, secluded from. So we can do this even throughout the day, where we're pulling away from those unwholesome states that are triggered by the senses. And again, it's not like we're just kind of, we're doing it appropriate to our situation. And then there's Tuni Buddha. Oh, okay. I think I got this. This one needs to be down below. This is relating to the actual, the sutta. This was just an extract. And this is back to the sutta that we were looking at. That was 240.
240.
And so this is the turtle. The turtle is pulled in, calm, unconcerned, not bothered, untroubled, at ease. And literally, it's little desire. Yeah, so, but when that turtle didn't stick out one or the other of its limbs or neck out from its shell, okay, so somehow I missed that part. Anyway, he couldn't, yeah. So the turtle was untroubled, silent, quiet, became silent, and it just sits frozen, is a literal how this song Kasayati. Yeah, I think I've missed yeah, okay, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. I missed that part. So yeah, so it's being very still. But when that tortoise didn't stick out one or another of its limbs or neck out from the shell, the jackal left disappointed since it couldn't find a vulnerability. And this word, nibija, losing interest, becoming disenchanted. It's related to nibida, but this is he's just kind of given up because he can't get at the. So in the same way, the wicked one is always waiting nearby, thinking, hopefully I can find vulnerability in the eye, and so on. And this uttara is a chance, opportunity, opening, gap. So it's like a way in. Okay, if the faculty of the mind were left unrestrained, bad, unskillful qualities of covetousness and displeasure would become overwhelming. So we allow ourselves to become overwhelmed. I think and if we watch our mind, we can see how if we don't, like if we see the first glimmerings of Mara, discontent or greed or something like that, and if we stop it there, it's a lot easier than when we allow the kind of the freight train to pick up speed and go faster and faster and faster and faster. It's hard to stop. It may take some time. For this reason, practice restraint, protecting the faculty of the mind, achieving its restraint. So here's this word, anwasawati, streams, floods, and overwhelms. And then asamuta is unrestrained, uncontrolled, unguarded. And then this is a word that people should know too, is abhijja domanassa. It's translated frequently as covetousness and greed, or this is covetousness and depression, wanting and unhappiness, craving and aversion. Craving and aversion is a good way of looking at it. Greed and distress. So this appears in the suttas frequently. And this is a state of mind that we hope to be, these states of mind we hope to be free from. And then there's this word here, pati pajati, pajatati, pati pajati. Practices follows a course of action, follows a method. I think this is the verb form of patipada. You see the pod there. And then Kati is protect, watches over, guards, and manindriya. This, in some instances, it's the power of the mind, but this is the mental faculty in this case. When you live with your sense doors guarded, Mara will leave you disappointed since he can't find a vulnerability. Just like the jackal left the tortoise. And this is Guta Dwawa, guarding the doors, restraining. So, yeah, you often hear sense restraint, but it's protecting, guarding. There is a certain amount of restraint. I think of also of like a child. If you're a parent or you're taking care of a child and they're a small child and you just let them run wild, they can break things or harm themselves or something like that. And if you don't train or tame or like it's just like if you don't use some education for this child to its like its age level, sometimes you do really just have to protect them. I don't know if they have them anymore, but there are these playpens that are like cages. People put toddlers in so they don't harm themselves. They have no, I think mostly now they put them in a room with a gate, like the bedroom is safe, child safe, and then there's a gate, and the parent can look in and see the child is safe inside the room. But it's to protect them. It's not like you're yeah, so you have to use a certain amount of restraint for yourself as well. If you sometimes you just have to say no. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna do that. I really want to tell that person that so and so off. No, that's ill will. That's not good. Anyway, so we can go, I think, to conversation now because I don't think we have time for this. We'll come to this sutta next time, the simile of the chariot, but we could just read this first part of it just to get a. You want to read just this first
Okay.
part without looking at the anymore.
Okay. By possessing three qualities, one lives full of happiness and joy in this very life, and one has laid a foundation for the destruction of the taints. What are the three? It's one who guards the doors of the sense faculties, who is moderate in eating, and who is devoted to wakefulness.
So this is
Which
just
is different than insomnia, by the way.
yeah. So I just wanted to point out that the joy and happiness that comes from these practices, it's not about denying ourselves or something. We find a different kind of happiness.
Yeah.
So I think I'll stop. What is going on here?
At the top, you'll see the red where it says stop screen share.
Okay, there we go.
There you go.
There we go. So I'm stopping the screen share, and people don't mind, I'll put it on gallery view and open for discussion. Ah, more people here. So, any questions specific to this sutta? Yes, Dora?
Oh, you could, I didn't realize I was not on mute. Sorry. I thought you were having one of those telepathy moments. You could feel me reaching. Um, I just had maybe it's a state of mind I'm in at the moment, but I have to say I'm really grateful that you read the last bit of the first bit of the second metaphor because when I received the tortoise one, I kind of feel like, oh, this is so warrior like and fighting like, and just feels so I felt uncomfortable. So I have to sit with that. But it didn't ring, it didn't feel good. So I'm just throwing, I'm just throwing that out there because I'm weird and just a
No,
feeling.
you're not weird. Thank you for mentioning that.
Yes, you are in a good way. Nora and I have been friends for a while.
We can
You're a
all,
fantastic
oh,
weird.
and we're just right at the middle
And,
here.
and we're so normal. We're in your weird.
But
Wondering if you have any thoughts about that or.
yeah, so I can relate to tortoises and turtles and things like that, and then because I have an understanding he's protecting himself, and it's all a metaphor. And the jackal would attack the turtle if he just kind of like ignored the fact that the jackal was coming in his direction. So actually it's passive resistance rather than than a warrior. Because it said that he was peaceful, quiet, still. And if you think of that as a metaphor for samadhi, the mind becoming still, even in our daily activities, like if I get stirred up over something, if I still my mind, if I quiet my mind, someone said something to me I didn't like, or I see something I don't like, or whatever, or want, and the mind will get stirred up. So it'd be like if the turtle tried to run, the tortoise would try to run from the jackal. Would they, he or she be able to get away? No, the jackal would grab onto the leg or something like that.
Also, in our modern world, you could think of the jackal as being the advertising, that, the billboards, I it's unfortunate that unless you have a certain level of account on YouTube, if you're listening to a guided meditation on YouTube, and then suddenly, and here we are, you are very much in need of this hair mist. It will, whatever. Um, and that sense of that, oh, I want to withdraw from advertisement. And because it's easier for me to settle when I'm withdrawing from that stimulation. Or if you're driving along, you just don't rest your eyes on all of the billboards and try to read them. So you can make a choice as to where you're directing your attention. Others might have examples as well of how this applies in our everyday world as opposed to the sense of animals consuming each other.
Yeah, but it's the idea that Mara is gaining
Yeah.
access is the metaphor, and then we do need to protect ourselves.
Yeah.
And then there's the idea of also reaching out, that I'm reaching out after something. And then so that allowing this vulnerability or the opportunity. So yeah. So looks like Joseph has a hand up.
Thank you, Venerable. You were asking for examples, or is that because I was thinking about the 5 ways to remove resentment from Venerable Sariputta? So, like, there's this person I follow called the Good News Girl. So she literally, her whole job, she posts good news every day. So focusing on, is that an example of sense restraint? Where, for me, I found this very helpful for, like, say I'm struggling with relatives and something that they're saying is very irritable, and then I focus on their bodily actions that are pure instead. So that's a form of sense restraint in terms of being, I'm coming up with this word today, a kindfulness custodian or a
Yep.
kindness keeper.
That's nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I don't know if it's particular, it's kind of like I think the idea of being aware of what's arising, that their anger, resentment would be unwholesome mental state arising. And then so I guess you could call it a form of restraint. It's not technically, but you would kind of, you're averting your mind to a wholesome state. So, stilling it, it would be different than stilling the mind and quieting the mind and just abiding, but it would be a good alternative if you're having a struggle with a particular like resentment arising, is it, like it says, and so to avert your attention to something more wholesome, and the appreciation of that person's good qualities instead of their negative qualities. And so then you calm the mind. But I think also being able to find that spaciousness and quietude in the mind too. That could be, it could be like what would be kind of the buffer, and to get the mind to settle, and then so there's no, go ahead.
In the sutta, it says, for this reason, practice restraint, protect the faculty of mind, and achieve its restraint. So I feel like what you're citing, Joseph, is more in that second, protecting the faculty of the mind. By seeing the unwholesome arise, you're choosing to avert from that and avert to the wholesome aspects. And so it's within what the sutta is saying, but it's not particularly, it's a protection that leads to the achieving of restraint. But eventually you want the mind to still.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for pointing
Yeah,
that out.
where,
Yeah.
where it meets.
Where it meets the sutta. Yeah.
And Amber's got a hand up. You
Oh,
can't see
Amber.
it behind
Oh,
the-
yeah, please. Amber, could you unmute yourself?
Thank you so much. And I thank you for this teaching, and I want to thank Joseph as well for what you just shared, because what was on my mind it was really helpful for me to hear that, because I was thinking about the turtle pulling in its, limbs and becoming quiet and still, with the jackal around it. The jackal, I'm imagining the jackal is like maybe smelling the turtle, like poking, like something like that's going on. And I'm marveling at this turtle that's like, in that samadhi place where the quality of stillness and peace, and like in the shell. And it made me think about another story I recently heard, a talk that I listened to, where I think it was Ajahn Amaro shared about this book called Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. And this quality of like being able to, like a zebra or a tortoise, being able to protect itself in nature, but not clinging to the stress of that interaction following the act of self-protection. And I think that's where I fall down. And so what you were just sharing about how to, cultivate a different feeling about an experience, like in the moment, I think is what I needed to hear. So thank you.
Yeah, so that averting the mind to the wholesome from the unwholesome, or like looking at the positive qualities rather than like you were talking about that last week too,
Right.
where you can see the beautiful and the unbeautiful, and the unbeautiful and the beautiful. And that's used, in the case for removing resentment, you're instead of focusing on somebody's qualities that irritate you, it's and then also realizing it's just irritating me. It doesn't necessarily mean they're innately bad because they're doing this. It could, what they think that this is okay because they're doing it, they're saying it, or they're behaving in this way, or maybe they realize smoking is bad or something, but they're addicted and they haven't been able to So you have to have compassion maybe instead, I'm just pulling something out of but something that they're doing is their business. But then if I say, oh, I see I'm getting irritated because they're doing this again, and then I say, okay, well, I really love this person because they're my grandfather, and I remember when we were together and he took me out on a walk or whatever, like you divert the mind to something so the mind can calm down. Or even currently, they're very generous, even though they said something I don't like. They're, they're very kind or something. So you change your focus. But that's a little different than seeing, I see the unwholesome quality arising and then pulling away from that. To be able to do that is a different, it's like you're saying that the other one is a protection. It's like the shell is there and then you have to pull it, the act of pulling into the shell. They protect, like it works together. Then the mind becomes still. So that would maybe be
Yeah.
or I know that it's safe if I pull my leg in, but it would be, yeah, you couldn't think of a positive quality for a jackal, probably, other than they're gonna leave me alone if I stay still for a while. I know this.
That's what I was imagining, was like, oh, I wonder what the turtle, like how would the turtle think about the jackal in that moment? Or maybe they're still just in a protection space, and so they're in that space, and then it's after I don't know. I might be overthinking it.
They have to think about the jackal because they know reality. The jackal is being a jackal. This is what jackals do. And how do I protect myself from jackaldom? I pull myself in. Now, and so needs to be no animosity towards the jackal. There can be peace and just the fact this is a jackal doing what jackals do.
Okay, Tina has a hand up. We are just
Well-
close to the,
We'll do that and then we'll,
Yeah.
yes, and then we'll have space afterwards.
we can continue afterwards too if you want to stay on, but please, Tina.
Yeah, Trina. Yeah.
Trina? Oh, Trina.
From,
Okay.
from-
See you both.
Okay.
So wonderful to be with you and with everyone. And I really truly enjoyed the sutra. And it brought to mind something in the past where one of my colleague and I, when we were working together, and in the Vietnamese culture, we use a lot of like animal similes too. And so I'm so familiar with this, and it's interesting because it kind of speaks of how it was for us when we would a client would come in, or they're on their way, they have an appointment coming soon, and her and I, we would say, she would say, I'm going to withdraw into my shell now, so it's kind of like knowing that this client who's coming in is difficult and she's got some harsh qualities and harsh speech. And it was this, all right, get into your shell and guard and protect yourself. We're still going to take care of this client, but just there's a sense of like pulling in. And when I think of it, it could come from, because one way of seeing it for me would be like, oh well, that turquoise is scared and it's shrinking in. But another way is just being skillful to what is, to the danger that are coming, or the harshness. And so it's a form of protection, and it's not wimpy and afraid, but it's more of this, the nature of this being is sensitive, and I need to, you know, pull in and protect myself from the harshness that's out there rather than get beaten, by the harshness. And so it just brought a smile to me to recall those times when that's how we would um, frame some of the difficult clients that we had to deal with, was not so much, oh God, she's coming in, but more of a, ah, withdrawal, pull in. and take that as a part of what we were aware of was, okay, this is how it's gonna be, and how can we care for ourselves while this is what we're exposed to, this is what's happening, what's coming our way. So I really enjoyed the sutra on this. Thank you for having this space and for offering this to us, and I'm so glad I can finally make it. So.
Yeah, that's great. Thank
Yeah.
you, Trina. That's a really excellent example. I mean, you're protecting yourself,
Yeah.
seeing Mara from afar. Not that the person themselves is Mara, but these unwholesome qualities are meeting up against maybe our unwholesome qualities. And can I pull back a little bit so there's not this? Yeah. So thank you so much. That's a great example. And so we can close with respects to the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and then we're gonna go off not offline, off live stream,
Live stream. So
and
it
then
would
then we can have our after
party.
discussion for anybody that has anything further they would like to say or ask. Sama Sambuddho Bhagava Buddha Bhagavantam Abhivademi Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammam Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Sangham Namami. Thank you all on YouTube for joining.